James Ward-Prowse, as Charlie Eccles says that Tottenham also retain a long-standing interest in Southampton's England midfielder James Ward-Prowse, which a deal could potentially be done with maybe the likes of Harry Winks going in the opposite direction, a bit like the deal that we did for Højbjerg with Kyle Walker-Peters. You got to remember Højbjerg was the Southampton captain at that time as well, so there is previous there. How much would you like to see Ward-Prowse come through the door?
Yeah, I think it's a very different deal to the Højbjerg deal, because Højbjerg only had a year left, so they had to kind of sell. Ward-Prowse only signed a contract last summer, so...
Yeah, but apparently in that contract there is a top 6 club clause.
Yeah, but how much money? How much is it for? You know what I mean?
It's a lot.
Exactly. It's going to be a big money deal. Is he worth it? I like Ward-Prowse. I think he'd fit in really well under Conte and at Spurs. I think he's a fantastic set piece taker. I think he's really hard work in the central midfield. A very good passer of the ball. Someone we could really utilise, but we're potentially talking 60 million here, and I don't know if that represents good value for the quality we're getting. I think we're getting good quality, but you can probably get similar quality for less than 60 or whatever it's going to cost to get Ward-Prowse in. But if we're convinced that Ward-Prowse is the answer, then pay the money, because I do think he's a very talented player. Maybe if you put him in a better team, he can shine even brighter, because you've got to remember he's the main player at Southampton. He's been carrying them for a while. And maybe you put him around better players, and instead of him carrying a team, maybe if he's a part of a team which was similar quality to him, he'll be even better. But so that's something to consider. But I don't know, 60 million seems very steep to me, or 50, or even 50 million. I would consider 50 million, but it's still quite steep.
You could potentially go for, like, if they do value Winks at a 25 million or 20 million, as we were talking about. I mean, you could look at maybe Winks plus 30 million or something like that. Winks plus 35 million. You know,
yeah, that would be a good deal.
Figure. I think that'd be a very good deal for us. And you got to remember as well, is like teams are going to take advantage of the fact that we need British players, English players to come through the door, because it's been quite evident that we are struggling with this quota. Fraser Forster has come in now, so that's going to be added one with Galini going out the other way. But if Winks goes, then that's another British player out the door, and we need to bring another one in.
Yeah, it's probably another reason why we're after Jed Spence. So, yeah, it makes sense. I think in terms of English centre mids, there's him and there's Calvin Phillips. Depends which one you'd rather. I think they're both similar. Calvin Phillips is probably better off the ball, and Ward-Prowse is probably better on the ball. I think probably Ward-Prowse would be a player that we need more, even though I probably think Calvin Phillips might be the better player, interestingly enough. But
I'd prefer Ward-Prowse. I think that...
just because of what we need.
Because of what we need, and in terms of the set pieces as well, we haven't had a set piece specialist since Eriksen left Spurs, and you know he went a bit off the boil with his free kicks as well at a certain time. And I think with the amount of free kicks we win, you know, he will get, I think, a minimum of at least 7 goals a season. I think James Ward-Prowse. I really believe that. And I think
assists as well.
Assists as well. I mean, his delivery is just second to none. Yeah. And with Harry Kane in there, polishing them all off. Heung-min Son as well. Kulusevski. I mean, he would be invaluable to us. I really believe that. We need a proper set piece specialist. We really do. And it's not just his set pieces as well. It's his general play that could really help us. It's not just the set pieces.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that out there.
But the set pieces is what sets him apart.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'd definitely love to bring him in if we can get a deal done. I just don't know if we'll go to if we don't say Winks isn't included. I don't know if we'll go to the full, if we'll break the clause depending on what it is. If it's 60 million, I don't think, or 50 million, I don't know if we do it. But I like him, and I would like him at Tottenham.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the next one, which is Nordi Mukiele. The Mirror saying that Tottenham are one of the number of clubs looking at RB Leipzig's right back, Mukiele. Obviously, we spoke about him a bit in the transfer targets video. How high up on the list would he be for you in against Jed Spence and all the others that we spoke about?
Yeah, he's been quite consistent now for Leipzig for a while, a couple years. He's been quite good for them for whenever I've seen him. So I think he'd be quite high on my list for signing a right wing back. I like him. I think obviously Spence, due to his him being English and stuff, I would rather him. But Mukiele might be expensive, but I think he'd be a good signing. I think that's one we should definitely look at.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, Christian Eriksen. Dean Jones Soccer, I'm not sure who they are, but they say Tottenham want Christian Eriksen to return to North London and have already held talks with the Brentford man last week, which is good to hear. Do you think this is a deal that's going to get done?
Yeah, we're just hearing different things all the time with Eriksen. Do I think it's a deal that's going to get done? I think he's probably going to wait to see what other offers on the table first, before jumping back into bed with Spurs. But I think that it makes sense for him to come back right now, where we are as a club, how he's playing, what we need as a team as well in the squad. I think it makes complete sense. So I wouldn't be surprised if this one goes through whatsoever. I would love him back at Tottenham. I think he's been brilliant recently, but. We've been here before, and some people say maybe nostalgia's talking, and maybe the way he left. People say he was bored at Tottenham, he had enough, and whether it'll be right. Some people say you never go back. So, that's also something to consider. But I think he would come back with renewed vigor. He comes back to a club in a different, a different stage than it was when he left. So for me, I think it's definitely one that can make sense. And if we've got the Eriksen that's playing for Brentford right now, who's better than ever, we'll have a real good player on our hands.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just hope that maybe the negotiations with Daniel Levy at the end of his time at Spurs maybe haven't put him off from coming back, because that's the only maybe reason I could see him not coming back. Because with Antonio Conte here, Spurs going in the right direction now, I think it's an attractive proposition. And I think that might be that kind of relationship might be the only snag in the deal that could potentially see him coming back to Tottenham. But I'd love to see him back, and I know a lot of people won't, and a lot of people do. But I think he's a top quality player. He's shown it at Brentford this season. And since he's come into that Brentford side, in that position, he's been one of the best in the Premier League. So bring him in is what I say. Next up, let's talk about Steven Bergwijn. Not new news here, but Romano is talking, and he said that there are serious chances for Bergwijn to leave Tottenham in the summer. As Perisic is joining the club too, the plan is still the same. Ajax have his name in the list since January, but there are many clubs interested in him, and the race is still open. So we're expecting a bit of a bidding war for Bergwijn this summer.
Yeah, I hopefully a few clubs come in for him, and we can get something over the line, because I think it's time that we cut ties at this point, because I don't think he's happy here. He wants more game time. I don't think he's performed to the level we really need or wanted or expected over that period of time. So it's probably best for everyone. He's been here 2.5 years now. So it's unfortunate, because I like him, but I think if we get some money for him, get some new blood in the forward line, that's probably best for everyone.
Yeah, unfortunately so. I'd have to agree with you there. Next up, Harry Winks. Sports OP says Spurs have told Harry Winks they will listen to offers for him this summer, and they're looking for a transfer fee in the region of £20 million. Do you think that's a transfer fee that's realistic for Spurs to get this summer for Harry Winks?
Yeah, around that ballpark. Maybe between 15 to 20. I don't think that's unrealistic. I think you can probably get a Premier League move for that amount of money. I know he hasn't been great. You got to remember he's English international centre mid, who maybe if you put him in the right team could be a lot better. And maybe, although he's not good enough for what we need, he might be good enough for a lot of other Premier League players. So, yeah, I think it is fairly. I don't think it's completely unrealistic that transfer fee.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's probably a fair price. You're talking about English tax as well. You're talking about a player who has shown promise in his career, but has obviously stagnated a lot in the past couple of years. And I think that he needs a fresh challenge, because I do think there's a player in there for Harry Winks. I just think his time at Tottenham is more than done. And it's been done for a few years now. So I think under a fresh challenge, maybe in the lower end of the Premier League, the Evertons, the Southamptons, these kind of clubs will get a tune out of him. And I think that's kind of his level, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. So I think there's a place for him, but just not at Tottenham anymore. He's stagnated.
The last bit of news we've got for you is about Heung-min Son. Ali Gold was saying yesterday that Liverpool were considering a big bid for Sonny this summer if Tottenham had not finished in the top 4. What do you make out of that? I mean, there was no chance we were ever going to accept a bid from Liverpool.
No, but his head could have been turned if we don't finish again in the top 4. I'll be 3 years out. I know he just signed a contract last year, but you know, it's a bit like Kane. I don't think Kane wanted to leave either, but he just felt like he couldn't achieve his goals at Tottenham anymore. And maybe if we would have finished outside the top 4 and things would have gone wrong, you know, Conte would have left or something like that, you never know. Maybe his head would have been turned, and a bid from Liverpool definitely had the... I'm not saying definitely would have, but definitely would have had the capability of unsettling him. That's why getting us top 4, that's why us getting top 4 was so crucial, to stop all these kind of murmurings and potential outcomes happening. So I think as much as it would have been unlikely either way, even if we would have finished outside the top 4, I do believe it would have been unlikely anyway. You just never know what could have happened if Liverpool would have come in from had we finished outside the top 4. So I'm just happy that we did, and we could put that to bed. Absolutely,
and obviously with Mane going out the door,
exactly,
that left an option there. But how much do you reckon would be enough to price Sonny away from Spurs when you're thinking about all the kind of revenue he brings in from South Korea and stuff like that? Just signed a contract last year. I mean, you're talking surely in excess of 120, 130 million pounds.
Yeah, it must be at least. It must be. And given that he's going to be 29 next season, is he worth that to Liverpool, considering Mane's just gone 30, so he'll be very similar age? You have to question that, but yeah, you would have to pay top dollar for him. No chance we're letting him go for at least 120.
Well, that's all the transfer stories we've got for you today.